No, I muted them. How do I mute them? 5 minutes, guys, till we're live with the whole company. 5 minutes. Everyone want to get to your seat. Yeah. Av, Scott, Av, John, we're live in 2 minutes. Should I face this?
I like standing. I feel better standing. I'd rather stand. This is working.
Hello? These things work?
Remember last year? Talking about who wants to clip? We're going to start with the video. Slideshow. Okay. I'm going to do this and I'm going to see it.
Hold on, are we gonna get is the whole company on this?
Where's
Are you gonna
Alex?
stand?
I
Or
don't
do you
know.
wanna sit?
I'm gonna see how it goes. I'll probably sit. I'll probably sit.
I don't mind the high chairs. All right, let's stand. John, we're right in your wheelhouse, right?
It's like
Bar stool
It's like
chairs.
Phil Donahue.
No idea.
No.
What do we got for time?
Well, let's sit 1 o'clock, man.
So Al, He dropped the Rudy Gobert.
What's the vid?
You and I'll click the video and then you can introduce them.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
You introduce John, and John
Yeah,
will introduce you.
I'll do that way and then.
I graduated in 1988. That was my man.
I think we keep it shorter though, so we give him like 50.
What time? What's the time thing here? We'll go walk it down. An hour?
15-minute break. Well, we'll go. Let's cut this off. Maybe 50 minutes. That's better.
I'll check
my
my
phone.
phone. John's got his watch.
1 o'clock.
All right. Alex, you can unmute us over there. No talking about App's hairline this year.
Still not ball.
Drive-by shooting.
Tough way to start.
All right. Right now, I get to intro the second best, no, I don't know, third best thing of the day. Who's keeping track anymore? It's been all good stuff today. But right now, we have our third annual town hall meeting. For those who are new to the company, to the left of me right here, I have John Walsh, founder and chairman of Total Mortgage. Next to him, I have Scott Penner, CEO. And next to him, I have Christopher Affinito, Chief Revenue Officer.
I think that I'm the crowd favorite, Johnny.
How does he get the big ovation?
All right, so I'm just going to show a quick video and then we're going to get started. We got some questions that you guys have given, and let's rock.
No matter what I did, I was always helping people. Whether the loans were $50,000 or $5 million, I worked just as hard for every client. I've never worked a day in my life. I just really love and enjoy what I do.
Yes, my last name is spelled wrong.
All right. Welcome again, everyone. Back from lunch. Everyone who's watching at the company, welcome to the Sales Summit. This is what what's going on? Nothing? Oh, there we go. This is, the town hall portion of the Sales Summit that we are now starting to do every year. I want to start just for everyone who's watching and everyone who wasn't here earlier. I want to thank Alex Galetti and Olivia Angelo for everything they did to put together today. This is above and beyond anything we've ever done, and kind of the coolest event we've ever had. And tonight is going to be, epic. So I can't wait for tonight. Hopefully the whole company will be there and it'll be great. So I want to start with that, and then we will get to the questions in a second. But what we thought we'd do, since we had John up here, is take a look back at the company. And the company was started in 1997 by John, and the original office was in Fairfield. So we went back and found a picture of the original office, and then where the company was, I think, from 98 and after that, 98 till 2013. The company was in Milford at a different address, and then the building we're in now, we moved into in the very beginning of 2014. So there it is on the screen. You can see the evolution. The second building was like, we were kind of in a bunch of disparate offices. We were all separate, and it was a totally different look than what we have now. Kind of crazy, but it was, we grew from there, and then John bought the building in 2014. So 2013.
That picture in the middle, Jay Alves helped us shovel. Jay Alves and Bill Shetler helped us shovel 3 feet of snow so we could work that day. So that's what that picture's from. That's why we have that picture.
That was the 3-foot snowstorm, and John and myself and Jay and Bill all shoveled.
You did it. You were there.
I was there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you got it.
I
You were
shoveled.
there too.
Hold on.
God,
I
shovel.
shoveled.
Literally shovel.
John, what was the beginning like? What gave you the idea to start this whole thing up?
So it was myself, it was one other person and a processor, and we were working for it was called Hudson Bay Mortgage, and I was always wanted to go out on my own. So Joe Bard had said, come over here and we'll start this business together. So after you work here for a little bit, lo and behold, the guy who owned Hudson Bay Mortgage approached us after about 6 months and said, do you guys want to take over Hudson Bay Mortgage? So we said yes, of course. And I did all the work. I did, the licensing stuff back in the day. And we started off just me, Joe, and one other person. Joe at the time had 3 children. He kind of had some different ideas about growth. After a year or so, I ended up buying him out. So I became 100% owner after that. And we just kind of grew and grew. And I think I've told the story many times, but I to pick a name, I told the story again, not to bore everybody, but I said we were going to be Dependable Mortgage, which thank God we didn't do that. But I wanted a name that could travel, a name that could be a national big mortgage company. I always was, my plan was always to grow a big company. And I was, one of the first places to get licensed in multiple states. I was one of the first mortgage companies to do mortgages on the internet and do mail away packages. I was one of the first mortgage companies that hired a full-time accountant. I was the first mortgage company that hired a full-time attorney. So I was always, I always had a lot of growth in mind. I always thought that, I felt that we could do it, we could do it better than everybody else. So I always had big plans. And I wanted to start a culture where, people were treated with respect. We had a good time. We worked hard, and the customer always came first, and it was always, it's never a yelling and screaming environment. It's just a calm, nice environment where everybody works hard. And like I said, we always put the customer first. So it's kind of been the evolution. There's been, to me, there's no end, what's the end? Is it 3 billion? Is it 4 billion? Is it 10 billion? I'm like, well, why can't we just be Quicken? I don't understand why not us. So.
He's never satisfied.
Yeah, never satisfied, of course. So yeah, that's kind of been the evolution.
So as we were preparing for today kind of reflects how far we've come as a company, and we thought we would sort of go through some of the history of the company because it's really it's interesting in a lot of ways. And so we have just some kind of interesting but also fun stuff to show you guys in the next few slides. This is the volume of the company since inception. The first year, 1997, what was it, 13.5 million?
13.5 million.
Woo! How much of that did you do?
13 million. Very little. Joe is an anchor. Well, we started in May of 1997, so that was less than a half year's production. So anyway, so good.
Right.
You continue to beat me up, but go ahead. One of us were a lot smaller back then.
Impressive.
So you can see sort of the evolution of the company, the volume. The 2003 was a huge, the beginning of the refi boom in the 2000s. And then, in 2008, you can see 2007, 2008, it got real tough. And a lot of companies went out of business.
What year?
I joined the company in 2004, which is when it really started to become a place to work. And I was originally, to John's point, I started as general counsel. So I was an attorney working at a law firm and moved over in-house with John in 2004. So since then, we've done a lot of different things. And one of the things we did that this chart actually happens to show is the blue on the bars for the years 2010 to 2018, we delved into wholesale. So we were a wholesale lender with broker clients, and we didn't love that business, but it was, at the time, it was kind of like another avenue for us to go down. Primarily before that, we were internet and refi based, and so it was another revenue stream for us, and we shut it down in 2018 just because it's not a business we really want to continue to be in. But you can see from here, and you can see in 2019, everything sort of spiked. We really kind of credit to Eric Martin as well, and Billy. We kind of figured it out what we exactly wanted to be, and then we tried to grow from there. And so Now, in the past year, I mean, we've hired, well, we'll see that, how many branches we've hired, but it's been an incredible run. It's been, for me, 20 years of just, a lot of fun and excitement and kind of interesting. So we'll take you through some of the, Afanito thought it would be cool to show the website through the years. So go ahead.
Who designed that, John?
That was all me, baby.
Oh,
The top says, we're called Total because we do it all.
I came up with that myself too.
That's
a good slogan.
1999.
That's a good slogan.
John said he's the only one that found the internet then. This is in 2005 with a redesigned website,
Getting better.
looking a little cooler.
Some people in there that are
There's
here
in that
now. Yeah.
picture up top. Mark Lottie, right?
See a lot of
Lottie,
Yeah,
right?
Laudicina.
Neil.
You're in there, Jim.
Doug Hoffman's up there too. Doug.
Yep. And then this is 2009. Rates at 4 5/8. 2015, another redesign. We what is that? Yeah, the purchase guarantee, and then now 2025. It's all primarily mobile at this point. So that's how the website looked over the years. We thought it was kind of cool to look at.
Let's clap for 2025's website. That's a good website right there. That's good.
All right, so then we thought we'd show you kind of how the employee count has grown over the years. So in 2010, we had only 92 employees. Today, we have 444 employees. So that's some significant growth, and we're not done, obviously. We're going to continue, and we're rolling right along. All right, I'll let you talk about this one. Chris actually built these.
So I think it was like 13 was our first Terry Hastings, Mark Zaya with Ridgefield, our first branch.
Our first ever retail branch was Ridgefield in 2013, and then Fairfield as well. Terry?
Thomas back going to Fairfield office, and then Brantford, and then it started just kind of rolling from there. I think that was when the shift from an inside internet type company to really, making a push at retail branches. So 18, 19, added another 9 or 10 branches, 20 and 21. I think those are some staple years, 19 and 20.
2019 was like an inflection point for us. It was when we really took off, and things changed for good. So we added some great branches in 2020 and 2021, and then that's 2022 and 23, and then last year, with the market where it was, we added a ton of branches. I couldn't believe this. He kept saying he was, we were bringing on a ton of branches. I mean, this is how many. When you see them all written out, it's nuts. So, and then this is every branch we have right now, written out and plotted on a map.
A little bit different than that building in 97.
Just a little.
It's crazy. It's somewhere.
Shelton's in there.
Jimmy?
We are also, for the 5th straight year, Connecticut's top lender. So if you've ever driven on 95, you know that, because we have every billboard on 95.
5 years is that's impressive. 5 years in a row that's something to really be proud of. So credit to you guys.
So it kind of takes us to our goal, right? We're number one in Connecticut, but where do we want to be? We want to be the number one lender in all our markets. That doesn't necessarily mean a state. It doesn't necessarily mean a county, but it means our market, right? Wherever we have a physical presence or loan officers working, we want to be the number one lender in that area. And that's our goal for the future. So, we're well on our way. And I think with you guys, we can certainly do that.
I think it's cool because we get to see that what we've done in Connecticut, we can replicate in all these different areas. So I know that goal is going to be achievable with the marketing, with all the touch points we do, with the billboards, with our community presence. And that's all because of you guys and what you guys do in all your areas. So that's going to be a really achievable goal. We know we can replicate that.
So that's that. So now you can
I'm
go
going
to
to ask some questions. All right. I have to start with one question. All right. Rumors spread fast like wildfire. All right. And the biggest rumor of the year, John, and I got to just ask right now, are you looking to sell the company?
Absolutely not. It's just shocking to me that comes out. And I could promise you on my children, I have zero intentions. And I've said this before. I love what I do. I love the people that I work with. I mean, how much happier can you get, right? And I know it's been a tough time, but I just enjoy it. I enjoy the people. I enjoy the challenges. I enjoy the business. I honestly can't see that I'd ever sell. And the fact that these rumors even start is just crazy. But if you ever hear that again, it's absolutely not true. I can promise you that.
I'm gonna cloud that.
Yeah, it's true.
And you guys could help shut that down, right? We know recruiters kind of pull any trick out of the bag to get a conversation. So we hear it. We go to John, and John gives us the same answer. So I don't know what he would do
What
without.
am I going to do?
He says he'd have no place to go. So that
gotta
might be the
fly
number one
jets.
reason.
So quick story. We went down to Florida to see John, and most of us would be like, happy you're down in Florida. And John's like, he's like a miserable guy down there. He's like he wants to be up in the office. Then he comes to the office, he's smiling, laughing.
I want to be in the action, honestly. It gives you purpose, So I enjoy it. I love it. I love coming. I mean, you guys might think I'm crazy, but I love to come back to the office in the wintertime. And even though the weather's horrible and gray and dingy, but I do. I really enjoy seeing the people and the energy in the office and the people in the office. And the challenges are the fun part, And it's somewhat of a challenging market, but we're always going to get through it. I think we got the best team in the business, and that's why we could just continue to grow and continue to get more and more market share. So I'm very encouraged and excited about the future. This business isn't for the faint of heart. They said we've lost like 30 or 40% of the loan officers this year. That's great. Now all that's left are us professionals, and that's going to continue. And I've said too before about the refinance market. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. And the longer the time between refinance booms, the bigger the boom. And that's just how it goes. So we just got to bide our time, keep working hard, keep doing what we're doing, and we're gonna really take advantage of it when the market, when the rates do come down. But I think everybody's holding their own right now. I think there's some great support with the technology we have, the marketing we have, the operations that we have. And I think we've really kind of set ourselves apart in the mortgage industry. So I think we're extremely well positioned. We're well capitalized, and to weather any storms. And I think we're in a really, really good spot. And I'm thankful that you guys have toughed it out in this market. But I think it's only going to get better from here. So I'm very encouraged and excited about the future.
What better answer than that one right there? We're talking about 5 years here, and 5 year has been a really good run as the number one lender in Connecticut. I have a question though. What do you think you've learned the most over the last 5 years, and how are we different now?
I haven't really been around, so. Why don't you guys tell me?
What did you say? You haven't been around.
I really haven't been around much.
Okay. I think definitely in the last 5 years, I've learned personally to kind of enjoy where we are, even if it's not, the best of times. Like we went through those incredible 2 years, and then we're coming on year 4 of tough times. And I used to get a lot more worried, right? Everything, when John and I used to have, whatever legal battles we'd have or battles in the industry. And we used to talk about, I wish I knew everything was going to come out okay, because it's kind of fun. Once it's not going to be like the end, right? And so, you fight through, and I used to worry a lot more. And I've learned, even when it's tough and when we're fighting through a challenge, it's kind of fun. And I stop sort of worrying every second, and I have fun with it, because I know we're going to persevere. I know we're going to come through. In 20 years now, I've figured out, no matter whatever happens, we're going to keep working and we're going to get through it. And so I'm trying to kind of live more in the moment and enjoy it, because it is fun. Remember we had that huge lawsuit, and you were like, I wish I knew we'd be all right if we got through this like 15 years ago. And he's like, but if I knew that, we'd have a ball with this.
It's the journey, and it's easy to say enjoy the journey when the journey has been good, but it really is it's just fun, and we have a lot of resolve, and failure is just simply not an option. So it makes it easy not easy, but to go through the problems. It's just part of the process, and that's just the way it's going to be, because there's no way we're failing. It's just not going to happen. So I'm never giving up. So that's why it gives us a lot of confidence to know that we're gonna be just fine. We're gonna be just fine, and I enjoy it. So
It's fun working with all you guys. It's awesome to come into this room and see everybody, and tonight to see everybody at the party is going to be like hanging out with a bunch of friends. It's awesome. So I love it. I'm loving every day at work.
The last 5 years have really shown that we have probably the most mentally tough group out there. And I've realized that no matter what you throw at us, we're going to stand in the box and we're going to keep swinging. And John says that all the time. You can't give up. You got to keep swinging. You got to stand in there and keep swinging. So,
and I think that the problem solvers are accessible to people. We're constantly making adjustments. We're listening to everybody. It really is a collaborative company. We're always looking for better ideas, whether they come from the bottom or the top. We're just trying to get better every day, and we appreciate and want your input. We don't always change, follow up on every suggestion, but we always want to hear these suggestions, always want to hear the ideas. And that's what makes us better. And we will make adjustments. We've proven time and time, probably thousands of times within my career, that we're willing to make adjustments. We don't. It doesn't have to be this way because it's my way or Scott's way or Chris's way. It's what's the best way. We kind of have checked our ego at the door with the idea of just continuing to get better. So I think that kind of sets us apart as well.
Av, what would you say your vision is, the 5-year vision for the company?
Well, I know we're sort of on this growth trajectory right now. And, what we've realized is positives and negatives to everything. So I think that what we really want to focus on right now is helping our current loan officers do as much or more business than they ever have before. Like we've gotten to a point where I think we've weathered the storm very well, better than most companies. And I think that that's an important piece to us. If we could take someone who's historically done 10 or 15 million and turn them into a 25, 30, 40 million dollar producer, that's helpful to the company, but it also, changes people's lives. And Scott talks about that all the time. And it's so true. Like the best part of the job that we have is seeing someone, come into the industry, not know a thing about mortgages and truly, change their lives. Like they go out and work every day and it pays dividends. So what I'd like to see over the next 5 years, obviously we're going to keep growing. There's an opportunity right now. I sort of like the market with where it is right now because it gives us that opportunity to expand and take over some market share. But that's a real big push we'd like to make is how do we get the people who are here, who have been here, who have stuck with us through good times, bad times, how do we get them doing more business and really, change their lives?
And that goes for everyone at the company too. I mean, it's not just loan officers, it's everyone. We want everyone to keep advancing and growing and evolving. And we take that responsibility very seriously. So this company is founded on people advancing and people who are at the top now, we're at at a different level before. So that's our culture. That's who we are. And we're finally in a position again after the last couple of years to be able to do that again.
How can Total Mortgage employees, sales, operations help you guys get to where you want to be in 5 years?
Well, I think it's everyone sort of moving in the right direction. It's important that we all sort of have the same vision, that we all are on board with we talk a lot about the ops staff and overhead and we used to think of it as almost a bad thing that we were a sales group. And we sort of shifted that narrative to, if you support the sales staff, that's a good thing. That's a positive. The better our sales staff can do here, the better that everyone does. So we like the idea that if, someone in ops or over our overhead departments, if they help out and do a good job with sales, that's a good thing here. That's a positive. John built the sales organization. That's what drives the bus here, and marketing, technology, everything else behind it sort of follow. As long as everyone's moving in the same road in the same direction
and giving us feedback, right? That's what we're okay if we're not doing it the best way. We want to hear it, and I think that's how you can help. And I think that's always been encouraged here, and I'm certainly sure that's going to continue. But just keep with the feedback. If you see a better way, you have an idea. Share the idea, right? There's no such thing as a bad idea, right? So that's what I would say, that everybody can help by just continuing to give all the feedback. Let us know what you're hearing out there. Somebody doing things a little bit differently than we are, a little bit better than we are. Can we tweak something to make us a little bit better tomorrow? So I would say that's an important part of it as well.
Hopefully everyone knows that. I mean, the best ideas we've ever had did not come from us at all. It came from you guys, and it came from everyone here. So that's like, if there's one thing that's sort of built into our culture more than anything, it's that. It's everyone being able to provide their ideas and us being able to implement them as a company. That's what has changed us. I think that's one of the things that makes us really different than other companies. Other companies tell the people what they're going to do, and we don't do that. We're run by everyone here. That's the truth.
I think what makes Total Mortgage so unique, and when we talk to other people at different places, is that ability. It's a collaboration. It's a collaboration between all departments too, right? It's getting ideas from all over the place. I think that what you guys have all said is the culture that you've built here and that everyone participates in. So with that being said, John, looking back on all the years, what would you say that you are most proud of?
That's a good question. I didn't know I was going to get that one. I look around, I look at this, to be honest. I mean, it's just crazy to me, just starting in that little house and go from there. And, it's amazing. Every once in a while I'll be in the office, I'll look, I'm like, I just can't believe this. I can't believe that we've done this, and so, and I think it was Af that said that I feel that I've impacted lives. I think I've really changed lives. I think people have done really well here. I think, I've seen people get married and have children together, and relationships and friendships outside of work. It's a very friendly, fun environment. I think we've built a great culture, and I'm proud of that. It's not just the business and the size, it's the who we are. I think when people know that you work at Total Mortgage, I think it's kind of special. And I used to tell people that, not everybody can play for the Yankees. So I mean, that's kind of the way I feel. I think that's what makes me most proud, and that we don't give up. We've been through a lot of twists and turns and a lot of ups and downs, and there's no quit in anybody here. I like the accessibility of the top management here. I think is really important. But it's just, it's just everybody to look around. It's just sometimes shocking to me, kind of pinch myself. And I was like, how did this happen? To be honest.
For the groups that joined in the last couple of years, this is so incredible and cool for us, because when we first did this, we had 3 folding tables in the game room. It was like 20 of us and sitting around the folding tables having the first sales summit. So to see it go from that, and we all did that. Everyone in this room, everyone watching, we all played a part in that, and we don't want to slow down. There's no reason. Why stop now?
Yeah, the evolution has been really fun to watch. And to Scott's credit, he kind of changed. I was an internet guy. I kind of understood. That was kind of my what I was good at, and Scott kind of changed that from kind of changed the culture from a branch perspective. So that was kind of neat to watch, and the sales summits that he does, and the President's Club trips, and the awards, and the things we always try to do within the company, within the business, and the parties and stuff like that. Scott's really great at that as well. So I'm getting people together and meeting and putting all these things together is a lot of work. It's a lot of money too, and
It's the first nice thing John said about Scott.
Yeah, that's
weird.
why
I don't know what to say.
I had to throw a shot in there about the money. So, and Af too. I've told the story from him and the kid when he was in the appraisal department looking up and asking me 100 billion questions. I'm like, dude, you really should go into sales. It's like, that's what I want to do. It's his constant curiosity. Constantly asking questions, which I always admire, and I think that's how you learn, and that's how you grow, and ask questions, and realize that you're not the smartest person in the room, and there's always something to learn. So
what's your line about being the smartest person in the room, John?
Oh, I don't want to say that one. That's not a good one.
Still asking questions.
So I want to ask a couple questions that we've gotten from people in sales and operations that we prepared here. And the first one I want to ask, I just asked John once, so I'll give John a little break and I'll go to Scott. Scott, as a back-end employee, will there be a day where we do a referral program? if I refer a family member or friend and they close on a home, can I receive a bonus?
So we had that a long time ago. It actually is a compliance thing that's not as simple. We would love to have that, but it doesn't really work for most of the states. I don't know who submitted that, but we would love to do that, but it doesn't really work that way. So unfortunately, we can't do that unless you're licensed, but you still should be referring people here.
We are the best.
For the greater good.
Yeah, we are the best. Another question we had, which, I'm directing to all of you to jump in here is, how do you feel we're prepared whether the market gets worse or better this year?
So in my opinion, the whole last 2 or 3 years has been about creating the most efficient company while still being able to provide, the best of brand, best in class service. So if the market, God forbid, gets worse, we're in a much better position than everyone else because we have a lot of intelligence and a lot of understanding about what other companies are doing and what other companies are going through and what measures they're taking. And they're in tough shape. A lot of them, not everyone, but a lot of them are in tough shape. And they, we made the decision in 2022, we can either sort of cower and we can cut and just be, as lean as possible and see what we can keep in that regard and see if we can eke out a profit in that way. And we decided, no, we're in a great financial position. We saved our money. We're going to double down and invest. When other companies were all heading for the hills, and a lot of them have been either closed down or merged with bigger companies, we said, all right, we're in. I got calls all the time. Do you want to get acquired? Do you want to merge? And I always said, no, we're building, we're going and investing, we're doubling down. And that's really what we've done in the last 3 years. So all of that is in the name of positioning us for the future. Things are good now. They're, very good for some people, getting better for others, but we're positioning ourselves for when, rates come down a little bit or the market changes, and we're going to be sitting there on top. That's our plan, and that's what we're building for. So if it goes the other way and goes down, you're sort of doing the same thing. You're positioning yourself with efficiencies to be able to weather any storm. In terms of, because we've looked at acquiring other companies, and I've looked at a lot of different companies' balance sheets, and they're not, people are in tough shape. We're still in great shape. So, we're ready if, God forbid, the rates keep climbing and inventory slows even further.
What's the quote you said the other day in the office?
What's that?
2 options, you can do what or what?
Run for the hills or stand in there and fight.
Yeah.
That's John's credit. He always said, in these downturn markets, we find a way to grow. And I remember sitting there and when rates just started to go up, and I said, John, what the hell are we going to do? He's like, this is great. He's like, this is awesome. I love this.
Because we know we're going to get to the other side, right? Just like Scott was talking about before, and I always said, if it's hard for us, it's even harder for them. So it's just, it's a war of attrition, and we're going to win. So we just, like I said, I think we continue to invest in technology and marketing and people and processes. And we are very well capitalized, and we can weather a lot of storms. And I've been in business for a long, long time. I started in 1997. We made it through 2008, which wiped out probably 75% of mortgage companies. There's been several downturns. We've always taken advantage of the dips. And this is just another dip. And like I say, doesn't concern me. If this lasts another 12 months, it's just going to be that many more people are going to be out of business, and then it's going to be right for the taking for all of us. So I'm very confident in our ability to weather the storm and continue to keep taking market share, right? You may not be getting a lot of volume, but we're increasing our market share, right? And that's a big thing. So,
and it's important to know. I mean, we've turned a corner. I think we're in good shape. The company's in good shape, and everyone, we've seen a significant uptick in volume. I mean, we did 600 million more in 24 than 23. Like we're on the ascent now, and that creates opportunities for everybody here. And we're in, great shape. Like 90% of our loan officers did more in 24 than 23. So, as much as we're still weathering a storm, it's not 21 or 20, but we're in good shape. And everyone here who's working, there are plenty of deals out there, and we're doing a good job getting our piece of it, to your point.
All right. I don't know. I have no track of time, but I have one more question. Where are we at?
135.
135. We're cruising through these questions. These answers are like, they're answering the questions without me asking the questions. But we did have another question, John, for you. To reduce recruiting costs and increase retention of producing LOs, have you ever considered a profit share program?
It's crazy. So that's a great question. So I happen to be, I was having dinner with somebody down in Delray, and they were telling me the story about this billionaire guy who lives in Canada, who his big thing is that, you know, he gives back to his employees. And I literally sent those guys a text. I said, look, we've touched on it before, but I said, we really have to look into like an employee stock ownership program or something to give back to everybody. So we're going to begin exploring that. I think it'd be great to get everybody on the same page and everybody on the same team, and that everybody shares in the fruits of our growth. And, you know, because when we ask, you know, what's our goal, it's more like, well, we want to get to 10 billion. Well, how does that help you guys? So I think if we could put together some sort of stock ownership program or something where the employees are part of the growth and part of the profitability, and then you could all help us look for ways to cut costs and be more efficient and really be even more so part of the team. I think it's a great idea. It's a complicated process. We have looked at it before, but we're going to put some serious effort into it this year, and hopefully we'll get something done this year. But it's something I would love to do. I would really love to kind of give back to everybody that's kind of given everything to us. So yes. So the answer to your question is we are actively beginning our search to be able to do something to give back to the employees.
When John sent that text, I think Scott and I were worried that he might have bumped his head or.
I asked if he was drinking.
Yeah.
But it's a great idea.
But we've talked about it. It's an incredible idea. It's something we want to do, but it is complex. It is complicated, and there's a million details. We've talked to people about it before, but we'll work on it.
Yes. Yep.
You know, I said this before, but I'll say it again. You know, standing here in front of three major leaders in the industry and being a part of a company, you know, speaking from the company, it's really amazing to be surrounded by people that, you know, really lead with their heart and really care not only about, you know, the industry and the company, but really care about the people that are in it. So, you know, as Total Mortgage, we also really appreciate you guys and appreciate the growth that you invest back in us and helping us get to the next step in all of our careers. So that's a testament to, you know, the leadership that you guys do, and look at all the create from, you know, the way you guys are leading. So, you know, as that, I say thank you to you guys as well for that.
Cool. Yeah.
And I think that's how we wrap it up. Do we want to ask live questions?
Sure.
Oh, all right. What we got? All right. Do you want to stand up?
Scott stumped us last year.
I know. I didn't know we were doing live
What
questions
keeps you up
this
at
year.
night?
I thought we said no live this year. Here we go, Scott. Let's just repeat the question so the people in.
He stumped us last year. I think he stumped us again. What keeps us up at night? Johnny, you want me to attack that?
Well, we're ready for 10% rates, but
Yeah.
we don't really want it to happen. So that keeps me up at night a little bit.
You know, I just have so much confidence that no matter what happens, we're going to be fine. I honestly put my head down and I sleep pretty well no matter what happens. You know, I swear I just do, you know, and you know, I think we always treat people well. I think we've always been honest. I think we've always been ethical. We always try to do the right thing, you know, and I think that I have so much resolve after doing this for so long that I know no matter what's thrown at us between the people that we have here, we're going to figure it out. So I would say, you know,
We're not up late. We're going to bed.
I mean, you never know. I don't want to see another, you know, the COVID where they say they might stop doing loans. There were some sleepless nights there. I can tell you that was probably the scariest time in my 27 years of owning this company, when there was there was a possibility that they were not going to allow us to close loans. Pennsylvania had come out with, you know, that they were going to not let us close loans in the state of Pennsylvania. So we have all these positions, and Mark maybe could touch on this more, but we had these positions, right? So if we didn't close loans, we were going to owe a fortune on the positions, and it was a really, really, really scary time. And Scott and I had discussions multiple times throughout the course of a day. And that was probably, in my 27 years, that was probably the scariest thing that I've ever been through as a business owner. And I think if we can make it through that, we could pretty much make it through anything. I think we have a ton of resolve. We got a lot of smart people. We got a lot of resilient people. We got a lot of people who are smart. And we're problem solvers. At the end of the day, the true measure of success is, can you solve problems, right? And it's to what level of problems can you solve? And that's what makes us successful. I think that's what's throughout my career. It's the people who can solve problems that I hold in a very high regard. So, and I think we have a ton of problem solves out here. So that's very helpful. And knowing I have that team behind me gives me a lot of confidence. So.
What do you guys got?
What do we
I like
got?
it. I echo that.
I'll say one other thing. So, I'm sorry. So I don't know if anybody, because I was talking to a couple of people, and am I killing you? No. I don't know if anybody saw it, but what the new administration that came in, Trump actually said that one of the big problems that we have is that the lack of homeownership, and he said he really wants to put a serious effort into, having more homes built and more deregulation. But he said one of his goals is to get mortgage rates back to around 3%, if not lower. So I thought that was very encouraging. So I think there may be a push from the government to try and maybe artificially lower interest rates at some point. So I don't know if everybody, because I told that story to a couple of people as I was chatting before this, and a lot of people hadn't heard that, but he had said that he wants to get rates, down to 3% or lower. So I thought that was a kind of an encouraging thing, regardless of administration. I think it's kind of a cool thing, and the government's aware that the high interest rates are definitely a pretty big inhibitor to home ownership these days. So I thought that was interesting little tidbit I saw on TikTok.
Oh,
John
You know,
had
I forgot-
that's what kept John up
Yeah,
when
the
TikTok
TikTok is
shut
what
down
keeps
for
him up.
24
Yeah.
hours.
that's
I don't know what he was doing.
Yeah.
Most efficient way to waste time.
How was the 24-hour ban for you on TikTok?
Brutal. I was actually on TikTok when it came through. I'm like, this isn't real. I thought they just were going to allow me to download it. I'm like, this can't be real. So I switched over to X, and I figured that out. And I was, TikTok knows me though. You know what I'm saying?
John's portfolio with TikTok's like
Yeah.
they got his whole background.
Then somebody sends me this crazy TikTok about cats, and next thing you know, all I have is cats. I'm like, what's going on here? I learned a lot from TikTok, believe it or not. Me and Trump, I guess.
All right, Shelley.
Corporate care accounts.
So the question is about corporate care accounts, which we might call them like affinity programs. I think they're referred to a lot as that as well, dealing with bigger corporations and providing service, mortgage service. We've done that in the past a little bit. We haven't done it in a while, and relationships with credit unions as well. So it's definitely something we could look into and talk about.
And like John said earlier, we're always open. This company's open to anything. So if there's an opportunity that someone has, we explore it every time. Every time. Glenn. I didn't hear the end of it. The last question, the end of the question. Yeah, I mean, it was a big switch to Encino with that was one of the main reasons why we wanted to do it. And I know the progression is to continue in that direction. I, we certainly recognize that that's a big piece of business coming in right now, and you guys have helped us with that push. Caesar, you know, he's always pushing that to us to keep focus in that area. So we see it, and we want to be ahead of it, like we are with anything. So yes, that is the goal to do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Anyone
else?
All right. We're going to do a little bit of a break for those that are streaming.
Don't go too far though.
Don't go too far. You can stay streaming, stay on. So you can come and see Jim Calhoun speak. And then everyone here, you guys, if you want to take a break, and we're going to come sit back down in 5 to 10 minutes. All right?
Thanks.
The words are just... But you know what I noticed? I want to stop with the mask.
I know. I claimed that line now. It's hard for us to say what I say. Now that's what I said. No.
When the sun goes up and the sun goes down, it's been 6 days now, it is only up. Try to touch my skin, but I feel like I just think it, don't know what to do. Like it's ticking down when I hear the sound, like an empty cell, playing all day long. And I move my feet on the floor. I pretend to stop, but I cry inside. When the sun goes up, when the sun goes, all the things I do,
Georgie.
Hello. Hello. All right, everyone, if you can, everyone could take a seat. People in the live stream, thank you for waiting. All right.
What?
No, we don't need it. We don't need anything from it. It's only for the stream. Okay. I just need that clicker that just stops. I'm gonna introduce you, and then I'm gonna play the video, and then you can introduce them. Or I do.
Say that again.
I'll.
Play the video. Play the video. Okay. Introduce me, and then I'll introduce you. Perfect. All right, and I'm gonna just stay out here with you.
I'm gonna leave this half empty Susan for a bit.
Get my eligibility down.
All right, we got everyone sitting down. Alex, are we mic'd up on the live? All right. Yeah, I'm gonna leave this one with the water. Hey, you should sit up here. Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you all for waiting. We have a quick video I'm going to show everyone. I got John Walsh up here with me. He's going to introduce a very, very, very special guest. Everyone, if you could bring your attention to the screen.
You guys understand, y'all can only do it together. As much as you want to compete against a teammate, compete. And pick his ass up and beat him again. Make him better. Make him better. I try to have this concept of win every day. You know, I tell our kids, win every day and win every practice. You really want to be great? Maybe I can show you.
Time here. Pressure from Jones. Langdon trips, and UConn has done it.
I watched us run through the playoffs this year. I could tell you I got goosebumps just the same as I did when I coached 79,000 people to win a national championship.
Thursday night, no.
Life is about purpose. I never went to work. I don't have a job. I coach.
So for today, we have a guest speaker who's actually pretty close to my heart. I'm a fellow UConn alum, and so I've seen the whole, Jim Calhoun go through everything here, and it was interesting. I was at UConn, and I lived in McMahon North, and right across from McMahon, they were building Gamble Pavilion, and as they were building the basketball stadium, it was brand new. My friend says to me, he says, "Hey, I want to get season basketball tickets for it," and it was 1987. I go, season basketball. I go, well, we're terrible. I'm like, well, we got this new coach in here. It's gonna be something pretty special. So we have season basketball tickets. The basketball team does unbelievably well. We actually win the NIT. We pretty much burned down UConn, and it was just an amazing run, right? And so then we won the national championship. I've been to many of the national championships. I'm a diehard UConn basketball fan. So it's with a great honor. I like to introduce Jim Calhoun, Basketball Hall of Famer, National Coach of the Year, and a great man. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you. I know you wish you had Danny, but he only has 2. I tell him that every day, by the way. I want you to know. As I was listening to some of the leaders, and I don't consider leaders to be anything else. They're not bosses. They're leaders. They're part of what makes you good. And guess what? You're a big part of what makes them good. I'm happy to be here and happy to hear people with the human aspect, with an idea a few years ago of creating something special. And we were in there in the heights of the word green room. I've been on Letterman and a few other things, so I know green rooms. You know how crazy Goldie Hawn is? I shared the room with her. And Letterman said, "You're going too. I think she's blotto." I'm not trying to hurt Goldie Hawn. That's an observation. All right, these cards, I've got probably 7 or 8. No, that's exaggerating. Probably 2,000 or 3,000 at home. And what I do is watch basketball a lot when I was coaching. And I know we're going to play somebody somewhere, and I use these as preparation. Secondly, I tend to, if I'm going on Route 84 to Waterbury, if you're going on the trip with me, verbally and storytelling, we take a few side streets. These are for you. I want you to know that. But they're also an idea of sincerity. For regardless of what you do and who you are, and whether you sign an autograph, the only autograph you should be worried about is maybe your check and taking care of your family and those you love. And I mean that very, very honestly. People ask me about that. I'm still obviously, because I came here because the people here, a guy named Bob Knight, for some of you might know who he is. Yeah, he's crazy, but so I listen, if you're crazy yourself, you should listen to crazy people because they understand what you're talking about. I do occasionally show my Boston accent. Yes, I do park the car in Harvard Yard. Okay. But when I went to St. Joseph's, last thing, and then I'll get to the notes. I went to St. Joseph's when we started a basketball program and eventually became #1 in the country. It took us all 4 years. There's 376 Division III programs. So we got it done. And there's some Sisters of Mercy over there. One of them is 93 years old and loves basketball. And what she says about me is I've really brought a great deal of joy to the school. It was an all-women's school, now a co-ed, etc. He said, I think all you people misunderstand, Coach. I think that people who have seen me coach before, I'm not Danny, because Danny's crazy on the court. I was crazy on the court. Danny's crazy off the court. I'm half sane. If that makes any sense to you. But so Sister Mary always would say, the thing about Coach Calhoun, you aren't paying attention. He's just trying to get the boys' attention. When I say, get your ass back quick. And that's the nicest thing I might say during a game, by the way. She says, and some of the language you talk about, it's his Boston accent. I could say a few words now, and we'd be able to interpret those very easy as not being my Boston accent. But I am happy to be here. And, you know, what I'm going to do is tell you things you know, but remind you of them. And the biggest thing, I always say, experts are coming in. All I know is I went to college. My dad died when I was 15, so probably set up maybe my obsession. If I was going to do something to do it right. I was at a Babe Ruth baseball game. Someone came down and said, get home, Jimmy Calhoun. Your dad just died. He died of a heart attack at the hospital. My 5 sisters, my one brother who was 5 at the time, I was 15. And it developed a whole different way. I hated God and a lot of different things. And I'm telling you this because it was the worst day of my life. But as fate would have it, when I got home, I hugged my mom as the oldest son, 15, to a couple older sisters, and said, I'll take care of you. 2 years later, I got a full scholarship to UMass. My mother ended up having a heart condition. I worked as a stone cutter for 2 years. And quite frankly, I guess the rough edges came from those days when I was fighting the world, trying to help my family, trying to help my sisters, etc. The things my dad taught me, he was a Merchant Marine graduate, was the light heavyweight champ of the Merchant Marine Academy. And he taught me how to box, which was dangerous because a friend of mine used to say, why is it you smile when the fight breaks out? Because they're going to protect my chin. That's why with my right hand. It's simple. But I think more importantly, it changed my life and made me know that for the 7 of us, I had to do something. And each and one of you have some of the same responsibilities. It doesn't take a dad dying, a mom dying, and all the things that we all face on this earth, but it does take various things. Art, some way you know you're responsible to yourself, to the people you work with, and that's kind of just the basic points, like you were a team, because you are. Because if one is good, all the rest of us get better. So some of these are going to sound not corny, but if I was coaching you as a team, and I coached for 52 years, by the way, 46 of those were at 2 institutions. So I'm a big loyalty guy. And if I'm someplace, if I'm at Toll, I'm going to make Toll the best. And I'm just starting out now. I'm going to make Toll best mortgage firm in the country. Nothing simple. So you say, well, I should run away. Maybe someone can pay me a few bucks easy. You're looking for the short term. You want to help the person beside you, with you, and make it better. And they become better. And you need to understand that. When I came, we were just talking about with my UConn grad, and he's talking that basketball was in the Yankee Conference. Had no idea what the big time was like. Northeastern University, I took over at 29. I was the youngest coach in the country. And over the next lot of years, I became the oldest national champion coach in the country at 2 places. 2. It's a lot of time. But I believed I could go someplace and you're at a pretty good place as you are, and make it better. If each one of you show up tomorrow to make it better, it's a better place. I mean, that much I do know. I always say, yeah, it's not very good right now, or things aren't going quite the way I'd like it to, but we'll find a way. I was talking with the brains. I'll call them the brains because it's an easy thing. If I knew them better, I'd call them other things, but we'll save that for later. And they can't fire me. You know, there is no bad action on those things. But I think you hopefully understand that. So as I tell you, this is nothing that you don't know. It's only something I've observed in 50-something years. I was going to ask all you, because you would know, how important are your teammates? Most important people you know. You got to use them. I tell people when they say, geez, I won 920 games. I'm just publishing a book, which will come out called More Than a Game, about the people in the game, the death of a kid. Talking with a former manager of mine to have both legs cut off because he had a diabetes problem. I've lost players who have died young. And so all kinds of things happen to all of us, but each and every one of us can contribute. Every one of you are important. And if you don't know that, you're looking down the wrong way. You better get like me, get some glasses. Because honestly, it's there. The person sitting beside you can help you. Me personally now, will fully admit, I have stolen from the best coaches in the world. Stolen. Boy, I like that play. I like that 2-2-1 press. Ways of teaching things. You got to find a way. When I came to UConn, Connecticut kids weren't coming there. You know what I did? Over a period of time, got 6 Israelis to play for me. 2 of them great players, great pros over there. I stay in touch with 3 or 4 of them now. Germany, the Roland Scheffer, the Dov Hennefeld. We had so many German kids, Australian kids, because I couldn't recruit around. I got around. And it helped us go and find a way. All right, so I'm going to give you, as we go through, just some things, and they're for you to write it down and think about it. Are there things to contemplate? Do I do this? Win the day. Every day has got to have purpose. You know what purpose in some of our players? In the midst of practice, take the day off. Let your body rest so you can work even harder the next day. Win the day. Already by being here, you're winning the day because you're conversing about what you do. And what you do many times becomes who you are. Remember that. Me, I'm 82 years old. I know I don't look it, please. I mean, I know that, you know. But most importantly, okay, I don't count days. I make the days count. Think about it. I don't count days. I make the days count. As I said, taking off may be a day, the best thing you could possibly do. Rethink that. Keep that idea about stealing other ideas, because you're not the only person with ideas, remember that. And I went to coaches and found out so many different things. Here's something I believe truly in. I've probably given 1,000 speeches. Remember, I'm interviewed all the time, and I'm in Connecticut that loves basketball. And I've worked for Washington Speakers Bureau in so many places. I've spoken overseas. It's tough in America to understand that Boston accent. I know. I had the Yugoslavians. Last year, I spent 2 weeks in Japan. That poor son of a bitch. I mean, he was really trying to keep up with the speed of my talking. He says, I do understand a little bit, but it's the speed. So anyways, So count every day. Put your signature on everything you do. Think about that. If everybody here knew everything you signed off on, agreed to do, called, put your signature, because it's you, and you're very important. The people in your life, to the company, to your teammates. Put your signature on every single thing you do. Here's one of my favorites, because as a head basketball coach, it doesn't come quite into play, but I found a better way to do it. Listen, you'll be shocked what you learn. Remember God, and I don't care what your God names. Mine happens to be Jesus, and because I say the word all the time, it must be Jesus. That's what I'm thinking. But God must have had something in mind. You know why? Gave you one mouth and two ears. Anatomically, I guess he knew what he was doing. He truly, truly got that. When you're working with people, and I don't call you anybody really a boss, they're leaders. The people helping, okay? Build trust. Start with words, but end up with action. The biggest problem I have is when a kid, you know what the most valuable thing to a basketball player? Minutes. Playing in the games. Everybody here knows what I'm talking about, being part of the game. How do I get around that? Well, I don't get around it, but I listen. And then I say to them, well, last year, which was roughly about true, we practiced 136 times. How many people give you an audition 136 times? And I'm watching. It's what I do. And remember, when it's all said and done, and I go to the press or wherever I go, I'm the coach of UConn. Therefore, I'm putting my name on this team. I never quit on anything. That isn't always so good, running marathons and doing some of the other things I did, but I change. No, I adapt. I am who I am. Standards, I think you'd all probably agree, haven't really changed. How I get there, that changes. Like today, if I was coaching, what I want, one of our kids is not like exactly a public secret. Big clinger last year, the 7-foot kid, he only made $1.2 million in his third year with UConn, and then went to the pro. Do I like that? I like part of giving the kids some money. I don't like it how it's being done, but I've got to make sure that I adapt to that. I adapt to that, whether I want to or not. You know, we always talk about the we, the team. Be aware every time you talk about we, there's a me involved. We're human beings. We want to know, where do I fit? Why am I special? I'm not asking me to tell you, but you must feel that. Just like a lot of things in life, you can say an awful lot. Where do I fit, coach? And if I'm upset with a kid, I say, well, I'll tell you where you really fit. Your ass fits on the bench. I'm just being upset at you. But know the me and we, because it's a normal, natural thing. How do I help us even more? And so I tell them, I'll give you 136 times. And I'm watching. And we film practice, so I'll give you another idea. When you lead, you can only lead when you find out what's important to an individual. I can't lead you, okay, if I don't know what's important to you. A pat on the back, a raise, obviously. But you know what I'm saying? I had a kid who died of a heart attack, Reggie Lewis, God rest his soul, played for the Celtics, okay? So I got Reggie 22 points a game, 7 rebounds freshman year. Next year, 24 points a game. Never started a high school game, by the way. Dunbar, Baltimore. And so, but he's a sweet kid and a great player. Michael Jordan said today, because I played in Michael's golf tournament every year, and he said to me, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame someday. Well, let me tell you, Reggie came up to me his sophomore year. He said, Coach, and really quiet kid, beautiful kid, great player, obviously. He said, Coach, can I ask a favor? Reggie, of course, you're the best, man. 24 points a game. Yeah, sure. Can you not yell at me in front of the fellas? It's a true story. And I said, Reg, it's the way I breathe. It's how I teach. Yeah, even with those words, it's how I teach. And he said, I'll do anything for you, Coach. And you can kick me afterwards and run me, or you can tell, but just me and you. My point being, it would have been the last thing I ever thought of. That bothered him when I said, in front of the fellas. Peer pressure is an amazing thing. Reggie Lewis, at that time, 18 years old, he truly, truly understood. And I understood what bothered him, never to be singled out negatively. He didn't mind me yelling at him to get defense or whatever the case may be. He just didn't like it, it embarrassed him in front of the fellows. And I said, by the way, at 24 points a game, I adapted pretty good. Make sure you listen, because people think listening is bad because now I'm going to go to your side. You don't have to change, and you don't have to alter. But the very act of listening is really important, because the other person at least wants to be heard. And I think we look by that and don't truly understand that. And I've got to sit down with my players. Off the court, in my office, and they've got to come by my office. I have candy there for them to take. That's the inducement. Now they're probably looking for $1 million, but that's NIL. But my point being, listen. It doesn't mean you have to change, but you have to take in their information. Nothing great, Ralph Waldo Emerson said, can be accomplished without enthusiasm. I, to this day, was excited to do things. If you don't have enthusiasm, people around you will recognize, but the person that isn't hyped up about doing something that gets their living, makes them happy, you're gonna come. I never met Ralph Waldo Emerson, but if I had, I'd like to see how enthusiastic he was when someone did something negative towards him. Find your strength, find your happiness. What makes you happy? If I asked you a quiz question, if you wrote down now one word, a sentence, what makes you happy? Not listening to me, okay, I got that. But honestly, what makes you happy? And one of the reasons I never left UConn or Northeastern over a 40-something year period, I was happy. I was happy in Boston where I was born, and I was really, really happy at UConn because I loved the people and loved the place. The other point I made, sharks, I'll read this one, don't climb trees, and squirrels don't swim. Who are you? You got to know who you are, what you can do. Sharks, once again, don't climb trees and squirrels don't swim. Sounds really simple. It is. But what's your strength? You got to know yourself. You got to know yourself better than anybody. If you need someone else to try to help you, they will. But getting back to make sure you always continue to listen. Here's the one I've always believed, and it's why I coach. And I became an important part of that. Whatever you think you are, You're probably right. As I speak at this moment, whatever you think you are, you're probably right. And my job is to make these young guys that I get over a 50-something year period feel good about themselves. Doesn't mean I'm not hard. I am. 2 hours a day, I kick their ass. And for 22, I have their back. And they're going to know I have their back. They're also going to know I'm kicking their ass too, by the way. That one they feel a little more. When you come to work every day, in my case, practice, make sure you bring yourself. I know we all get distracted. I know things happen in our lifetime. But you have an obligation to the people you work with, for, and more importantly, those that you love. Bring yourself to work every day. I used to say, when you walk through those doors into the gym, you got to bring you. I like you, and we like you. As you're thinking forward to do something, the number one thing I tell my guys, prep, P-R-E-P, and then step. In other words, prepare before you step. Because sometimes you take a bad step, and you find yourself in, I use some language to my players at times about that. So prep, then step. Everything you do is competitive. And the people that you've got to tie with, that you care about, you've got to really, really use them. Don't abuse them. Fight with the competition. But remember, in my job, we have a saying. When you wake up in the morning after losing a game at night, you still lost the game. So therefore, make sure that you understand that. Never fear failure. Don't be afraid of failing. Only chase success. If you get so logged down on what's wrong, something will be. That I promise you. Whether it be in some ways not getting your arm into the ball, not doing the ball right, not playing defense. And I worry about things I'm not doing well. Well, don't worry about that. Worry about doing the things you do well and growing from that. Here's something I had on my wall. And this is an old time and it's corny, but it's exactly the way I looked at life. Good, better, best. Never let it rest until your good becomes your best. I had that on my wall. It was written by many, many years ago. And I always wanted to be good. Was I obsessed by it? Damn right. I was really obsessed by it. I had lost my dad. I didn't go to school for 2 years while all my friends had gone. And I was, I guess bitter would be the word. But I had my sisters, and I had my mom. My brother, by the way, he turned out okay. He's a cardiologist at Mass General. My sister's a cardiac nurse, one of my sisters. Because our family, were both lost with heart disease, always be loyal and own your job. Do you own your job? Do you truly own your job? Because every other person in this room, except me, is affected by it. Every person in this room, I tell my team that, the guy who's 15th person, man, that person, okay, affects what we do. Are they back-mouthing, he's not playing me, or I'm training saying, I'm going to get there every day by working harder. So make sure, always be loyal, own your job. I have two more quips, and I think Q&A, I think, after that. Okay. There's a reason that the front window in a car is much larger than the rear window. Think about it. Because what's in the past, I could never be a rower of seeing where I came from. I want to know where I'm going. One of my friends, I actually had that done up and sent down to the rowing coach at Northeastern. He was such a good friend, I could do that. But I don't want to know anything about the past being this and great and better. You guys talking early about that, and you know, it's fine. You're standing, you're ready, you're committed. You're in a great place. That much I do know. And lastly, I told you a little bit of my life story and some quips that I've used on my basketball team over the years. But here's the thing. You all have stories. Each one of you could tell a hell of a story. It may not involve giving autographs, all right? It may involve a lot of things, but it involves you. That's what you got to understand. You all have a story. Why you're here, what you're doing, and most importantly, with that big windshield, where you're going. As I told you, I've been around a few decades. Well, a little more than a few. And yet, I look forward to every day. I got Ben Gordon, the kid who has some manic depressive problems, was a great player for us, played 11 years in the league, coming back next Friday, gonna have dinner, and then take him out and put him in the Huskies of Honor. See, because I'm thinking ahead, not thinking the fact that I had a knee replaced and I limp a little bit, and I don't want to look old, and I'm not going to allow myself to think old. I may not be able to control every other aspect of my life. Well, I try, but I do. I said to my wife, do I look okay? She said, yeah, I've been married to you for 56 years. I guess I think you look okay. You're not lying, are you? No, I'm just kidding. But lastly, if you attack, there's nothing wrong with total, there's something wrong with total, being totally so obsessed. There's a lot right about being obsessed. You got to have a life. We were talking behind, I've been a member of the Bushnell Theater for 20 years. Eugene O'Neill Theater. I happen to like theaters because first time I saw it, I was in Russia doing a tour for USA basketball. And one of the players took me and my wife and our team to see ballet. It's kind of a true story. And his wife was, not only was she beautiful, she was a great athlete. I couldn't believe the hop she had, spring, jump. I used that basketball, hops, and how graceful she was. And my point being, to see someone stand on a stage, naked to the world, and playing someone else, that's why I like theater so much. But I do things. I read, last year I read about, I think it was right around 50 books. I avoid TV as much as I can. I watch All Creatures Great and Small. I knew I'd get small, but yeah, I knew it, guaranteed. That was a guarantee. It was too easy. I work at St. Joseph's and at UConn now. And the president of UConn, Rona Dr. Free, she was born in Scotland. We always talk about that program because there were, I'm sure, difficulties, but it was such a quieter time. Well, it's our job as people to make sure that as you approach work, your family, do it with the same passion. You're going to find out you're in a good place. I'm happy to talk to people who truly, truly care I know you're forced here. They said someone's coming. You got to stay. I get that. But more importantly, life lessons are the most single important thing that you're going to learn. You're learning them today, tomorrow. You learn them every single day. So it's my pleasure, and then I'm more than happy if you have any questions. Oh, excuse me. I think, have they actually made me a member? This hat doesn't fit. When I left, I see some of your leaders over there, not bosses. UConn, I was making about 3.5. That's 3.5 million. I ran a camp. No, I want to let them know if I join your team. Right? Guys, am I right? My pleasure. Thank you. Yeah.
I think we have time for a couple questions. Does anyone have, did I just ruin the picture? Okay. Does anyone have any questions? Oh, all right, Shane. I'm just going to repeat it just because the people that are swimming. So the question was, who is your favorite player to coach and why?
Yeah, probably Karan, but Kimber was because he was perfect. He walked into the gym and he was home. You could tell that when he played with a smile. But Karan Butler was a great kid. And I went and saw him play, and I was the only person that looked like me in this gym. That's why he came. Is the guy that crazy? Someone had been shot in this place last week. I'll go with him. But he never saw his dad except once, and he also lived in Racine, Wisconsin, right outside Milwaukee. And he was the most loyal kid. When I told him he finally had to leave, he's already 22 because he's in juvie for 2 years. And he cried, I don't want to leave. And I said, come on, you're going to leave, number one. I've told kids to stay too, obviously. But in this case, at 22, so many people know this, they look at the age of the player. If you're 18, you're so much more valuable than our 21 because we can give you 3 years of experience. So I'd say overall, Karan calls me Pups. Now, before we'd have a problem with that. Before as coach, thank you. And I love him, like I love all my kids. I would say that on a given week, Rip just called me, he had an idea. I have no idea what it was, but it doesn't have anything to do with defense. You know what I'm saying? And it's really hard. It's almost like someone saying, which one of your children you love the most? But I have to think from whence he came to where he is now. He's the second head coach at Miami Heat. And what his life was through, being at juvie for 2 years and other things that went on, absolutely amazing. I'll tell you one quip about this, though. He writes a book. Sure, come on, read your book. You know, at 12, he had a gun, and at 13, he had a car. I said, if I had known that, I'd never recruit you. But but you know what? One other thing I should say, when I was at this event, a cop came up to me and said, who are you here? Well, I said, I'm from UConn, and I'm here to see Karan. You couldn't get a better kid. This is a kid he said he's a great kid with the wrong people. Which is, and turned out right.
All right, one more question we have time for. Go ahead, Cam. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
What was your favorite team to coach? And all time North Carolina.
Well, the first one, the happiness was the best team was in '99, and we were only 36-3 in national champs. And we beat Duke's best team ever, maybe. As far as comparisons with other teams, I don't coach them. See, the reason I'm saying that, in 2004, when Emeka got healthy again and we won, we had 6 first-round players on that team. Now, even he could have coached that team. That's all I'm saying. I love him to death. He's a UConn guy, but he could have coached the team. I mean, 6 recruitment. By the way, one thing I do, when I go to recruit kids, usually in a lot of different type of areas, I go by myself. And sometimes I take a taxi. Because all the other guys come in with their whole staff, their video, beautiful cars. I show up in a taxi. And they say, where are the assistants? I said, you know who's going to determine whether you play or not? Me. And then I said to his mom, I still remember saying this to Donnie Marshall. Mrs. Marshall, I want you to know, from the group of the same name, boys to men, he'll return. He'll leave a boy and return a man. That line she still remembers today.
I think we just gave it up for Jim. Thank you
Thank you. Oh, from the leaders, not bosses. How about getting some mortgages, will you please? I'm sorry. I wasn't supposed to say that. It's like when.
So we're gonna get on the road, go that way. If people want us to say hi, pictures. We'll be over there, all right? And then we'll come back here for the board, and then we go to the roaring 20s.
Great job, Coach. Thank you so much.
That was amazing.
Good to hear all the stories.
That was awesome. You're putting the hat on too. Looks good on you.
Yeah,
You were the one thing in my way. 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 You were the one thing in my way.
I like that boy.
I was sending all my, I have 6 kids, I was sending all my kids the one that you said, as you said it. I said, these are from Coach Calhoun. You better listen.
Yeah, I kind of was like gonna cry. I was like, these are so true. I never.
Most people don't think it's a simple thing. They think it's a
Right.
Because I did it my way. I way you failed. But in my heart, I understand. I made my move. It was all about you. I feel so far removed.
Right.
It was cool to see how much you correlated into the coaching with them. So it was really fun.
It's been my goal.
You are the one thing in my way. You are the one thing in my way. You are the one thing in my way.
Over there, right? That works for you. Yeah, I was gonna.
Hi, Jim. Jim. I met you a long time ago.
Really?
We were recruiting someone playing against you.
Okay, I'm gonna show you the pictures. So we're gonna go around.
Wait,
We're
Coach.
gonna go around.
Coach,
We're gonna
You were the one thing in my way. 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 You were the one thing in my way.
He said he never got a play again. You didn't invite him.
Wrapping it up. We're good.
She's been living in a white and world as long as anyone would